All right, so I got to play 5 hours of Tales of the Shire, the Lord of the Rings game, the new cozy game, kind of Hobbit game. And, well, I'm going to give you my honest thoughts and opinions on the 5 hours that I played. You can actually watch my full 5 hours stream in the pinned comment, or, you know, link down below. I'll have it there and you can check it out for yourself. But yeah, this is kind of like the aftermath and what I think about Tales of the Shire after that I've played the 5 hours. Not sponsored. I don't have any affiliation with anything that's going on with him. I'm just a guy that bought Tales of the Shire this morning because I like Lord of the Rings, and that's just what it is. So my thoughts on it, well, let's dive into it a little bit here. So the first thing is that the game is listed for $34.99 USD. The original price, of course, there's discounts for its launching discount price. I don't count that. I count it as the original price for $34.99 USD in case people watch this 6 months from now. Also, the console prices, at least the Nintendo Switch physical edition, is $39.99 USD. So for a cozy game and cozy game in general, you know, it's hard to like determine what is considered a cozy game, but I guess this game is like one of those games that really hits the nail right on the head as far as cozy games. $35 for cozy games are usually typically kind of, it's up there in the range, and I know most of it probably has to do with the IP alone, the licensing of the IP that they try to make. You know, they increase the price of a cozy game because based off of it is Lord of the Rings and things like that. The first thing I will say is this game is very much tailored to a specific audience. I don't think this is a everyone type game. I don't believe that at all. I think this is very much a specific niche, a specific audience that's looking for something very specific when they play video games and things like that. And it goes into the cozy part of the audience that I think this attracts is looking for something that is not too hard to play, very easy, very time consuming, something that takes your time, I guess you could say, something that you don't have to think too much about anything and just kind of go with the ropes. And oh, by the way, it's in the Shire. I think that's what it goes for, because if you're looking for a game that gives you a little bit of a challenge, you will get zero challenge from the game. But that's not how cozy games are usually. You're usually doing exactly what I just listed off, right? So with Tales of the Shire, you are a hobbit. You create your hobbit, and for some reason, Gandalf drops you off at this place called Bywater, I guess. And you once lived at the Prancing Pony, and now you don't. There's no backstory why you left. There's no backstory why you left your original home, and there's no backstory why you jumped into Gandalf's wagon, and there's no backstory to why you decided to live where you in your new hobbit hole now, which was once lived in by someone named Ruby, which you don't really know anything about Ruby other than she seems passed away, and now you've taken over her house, which seems to be really like just a massive wreck. Yeah, so there's not really any story about how you got there. And in the beginning, in the intro, in the opening scenes, I believe Gandalf mentions, you know, hobbits, you know, like cooking and things like that. And then your character specifically says, well, I don't know how to cook. And then as soon as you get off the wagon, you are greeted by Orlo, the postman. And then you say, oh yeah, I'd like to cook for you sometime, or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, I'm just kind of trying to talk about what happens in the first go at it. The character customization is okay. It's not the greatest. It's not like in detailed or anything. There's a lot of options, hairstyle options. That's pretty much it. I mean, you have like size options and like eyes, but it's mostly just a hairstyle, and then you pick out your outfit and things like that. But there's not a lot of character customizations. I do actually appreciate the Hobbit hairy feet because, you know, at least they're staying in character, right? I do appreciate that. I know some people are like, I wish I could turn the hair off on my feet, but you know, they're hobbits, so let them be hobbits, I guess. I don't know. Gameplay wise, we'll go ahead. I wrote down a few things here. I wrote a few things down as I was streaming today, and I kind of want to go over a few things. The graphics in the game, they're okay. They're not the best. They're okay. The art style, I really like the art style. I do like the art style. I do like the architecture in the game, how they actually made it feel like you are in the Shire, and it does make you feel like you are in the Shire. So they did a good job on that with the art style. The graphics, though, just seem a bit washed out, I guess, in a way, and just washed out. I don't know how else to put it. That's how it feels to me, is washed out. But as in the beginning of the opening scene, and actually getting off of the wagon and kind of like introducing ourselves to Orlo and getting to where we were, there was a lot of like skipping and stuttering transitions at the beginning of the game. And performance wise for Tales of the Shire is, yeah, it's not the best. And so I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but I actually played the demo of this video last year in September. I think it was September of 2024. I made a first 90-minute video of the game. And to be fair, that 90 minutes that I played compared to the first 5 hours, performance-wise, seems the same. It doesn't feel any different. It really doesn't feel any different performance-wise. The game constantly runs, I believe, at like a 20 to 25 FPS. Sometimes it will run at like a solid 30, maybe 40. But once you start getting into like the busier, once you get to like the town square, once you start walking into other, like you start walking into the inn, the Dragon Inn, the Green Dragon Inn, you walk into even Nora's shop and Fosco's shop, Nora's shop, it gets kind of choppy. Anywhere that has a little bit of like extra NPC level, it gets choppy. It gets like 20-25 frames. So the performance, even after, this game was delayed back in March. So March was supposed to be the release date for this game, and they delayed it till July. Even after the delay, even after the demo run we did last year, that they gave us access to, which that was very kind of them to do, but the performance still seems to be the same. There's no improvement, at least on my end. It feels like there's no improvement on that end. So yeah, performance wise, I don't know. I've heard some things about Switch. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can tell me about the Switch performance. If you bought the game on Switch or this or that, let me know what you think. But the performance isn't the greatest. What's also not the greatest is sound. Believe it or not, the sound engine. The engine itself is fine. It's just the game has almost no sound. It's very weird sometimes. So the music of the game really hits the spot. I feel like the music does a really good job at making you feel like you're in the Shire, making you feel like you're in watching a Lord of the Rings movie or whatever it might have you. But there's a lot of missed sound opportunities. I feel like there's no really true ambient noises. There's no murmuring going on in the village as you approach the village, where there's a bunch of hobbits everywhere. There's no clinking of dishes or cutlery when you are sharing meals. And that's the very strange thing, is when you share meals with other hobbits, it's very quiet. It's a transition. It's scenes of showing every hobbit's face, and it's just silent. You have the music in the background, but you don't hear anything else, which I found very strange. They could have added some sound effects or something like that to make it feel more immersed, but it's very, very quiet in a lot of aspects, which was very disappointing. I think they could do more. They could absolutely do more with the sound in the game. Music's great. Fine with the music. Sound everywhere else. They need to add sound to the game. They need to add sound, ambient noises for sure. Now, there is a fishing minigame in this game, because there is fishing. And the fishing minigame, in my experience, was is nice. It's easy. It's not too difficult. It's not like too easy, I guess. It's not too difficult and it's not too easy. I think they did pretty fine. I did it on keyboard and mouse. It was fine to me. I don't know how it would be like on a controller. It might be a little awkward. It might not. If you played it on a controller, let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts on the controller with the fishing minigame. But I think it was fine. I think it was just kind of your standard fishing minigame. Nothing too exciting there. But yeah, that's pretty much the fishing mechanic. You just kind of go opposite of the fish, and then you reel in, and that's it, right? So yeah, not too bad. The other mini game, which is one of the most important mini games of the entire game, is cooking. The mini game cooking is a very interesting one. You either love it or you hate it, I think. I don't know. If I had to choose to love it or hate it, I probably hate it more than I love it. And it's just a very, there's so much going on with the cooking, and the way the game sets you up is that as you are progressing through the game, as you are unlocking recipes from other characters, you cannot actually make perfect meals because you don't have the utensils. At least I think that's what it is, because we played 5 hours of the game and we never actually unlocked a single utensil. So there was times when we were cooking stuff where we just couldn't actually finish, or not finish, we couldn't make a dish perfect because we didn't have the utensils. And the game doesn't tell you actually how to get utensils. The only thing I assume is if you just do the quests, and eventually one of the quests will get you your utensils. So yeah. But the mini game itself, it's just really like cumbersome. It's a lot. It's a lot to do, you know, for little reward, I guess. I think if they had that mini game, and I actually went back and forth on the settings. I did the default setting of mini game for cooking, and I did the auto progress setting for the mini game, for the cooking mini game. It doesn't change because you need to have additional utensils to even use the easy cooking mechanic or the auto progress mechanic. So you have to wait until you unlock utensils anyways to even dumb down the setting for the mini cooking game in case you got a little bit tiresome. I will say, I think an easy fix for this would be like if you made a dish that gave you 3. You went through the mechanics and it gave you 3 of that kind of dish instead of 1 dish every time. These are just kind of, I'm just spitballing ideas. That's something that you could probably look into. Hey, I got 2 of this dish, or I got 3 of this dish instead of just 1 of that dish every time, right? So yeah, the cooking mini game is pretty, it's drawn out. It's a little drawn out, and I know the game is like revolve around cooking, right? And almost, I guess, in a way, it's almost revolve around cooking, right? I believe, maybe, I don't know, I guess. But anyways, a lot of the questing in the game, the storyline. So the story of the game is basically you are a hobbit. You want to meet everyone in the town or the village. I put village in quotes because it's not really a village until you make it a village, kind of thing. And you become friends with everybody, and you know, there's this sense of, hey, we got to make this a village, or we have to make this a proper village, I guess, certified village by a assessor. And that's pretty much Act 1 and Act 2. There's a moaning gripe between 2 characters in Sandyman and Mr. Cotton, or Farmer Cotton, and they go back and forth. They don't like each other, apparently, and one thinks we are a community, the other, Sandyman, thinks that we are not a community, and to solidify our community, we must be a village. We must be classified as a village. So during the Act 1 and Act 2, you're doing all the fetch quests to get you to the point where that you are certified as a village. I will say we did through Act 1, and one big thing that was very disappointing was the game actually spoiled itself through Act 1 going into Act 2. So the idea is, as you completed your fetch quest in Act 1, you're supposed to be assessed by the assessor. And the assessor is supposed to come out and see, hey, you know, are you guys an actual village or not? And the game spoils itself on that matter, because when you actually complete Act 1, it tells you that you failed as a village. And way before the assessor comes out. And I kind of mentioned that in my stream. I talked about that in my stream. I'm like, well, we already know the answer that the assessor is going to give to us. It's going to be no, because the game already told us no. So that was a bit disappointing, because there was like a whole cutscene of the assessor coming and saying, all right, you hobbits are not actually a village. I'll come back later at a different time and reassess. So the game with the quests in Act 1 transitioning into Act 2 spoiled itself. I thought that was kind of disappointing. I don't know why it's like that, but it happened to be that way. So yeah, there was that. The gameplay as a whole, it's like I said, this is very much tailored to people that don't want to do a lot in their video games. I think this game has awesome opportunities to take advantage of different kinds of systems in play, like leveling up skill systems, character skill system, things like that. But it just doesn't take advantage of any of that at all. The only kind of XP system I ran into was the actual clubs. And once you get the clubs, then you have managers of the clubs, people that run the clubs. And all it is a billboard. You go up to the billboard, they have a bunch of quests. It will say, hey, can you collect 8 mushrooms? You go out and collect 8 mushrooms, and then you bring it back to them. So I think in my case, I believe, I can't remember which one it was exactly. I think it was lettuce. The cooking club, Lily, boss, manager, said, can you bring me 1 piece of lettuce? And every little thing has a reward to it. And I was thinking, ooh, hey, money. I can possibly get money from this. I went and I grew and I got lettuce. And I had to cook something with lettuce is what I had to do. I cooked something with lettuce, and then I came back to her and she says, oh my God, good job. You cooked lettuce. Here's walnut. Here's a walnut. You don't actually get, I didn't get money for doing that quest. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. I got a walnut for cooking something for doing one of those quests. So I don't know how those quests will go in the future. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll get better as time progresses and level progresses, but I mean, you already kind of do a lot of fetch quests up to that point. And so when you have done a bunch of fetch quests to unlock more fetch quests, you kind of get tired of running around everywhere. You do. Yeah. And I have to say, after playing the game, I mean, it's the world that's created is very cool. Let me just say that the world that's created is really cool. But I think what happened here is they created the world first before they created the gameplay. I think gameplay might have been an afterthought. I think they were like, we're going to build the world first, and then we'll put the gameplay in it. Because it's just, you know, there's so much back and forth. It is so much back and forth, so much fetch questing and things like that. Typically you would want to go the other way. You want to build the gameplay first and build the world around it. But I believe the world was built first and the gameplay was added later. And that leads me to another thing, is that I was really hoping to get money. I think for me, I don't know, it's kind of very slow going and hard to get money in the game. There's only like a couple of ways to actually earn money. You earn money by selling your fruits and vegetables that you grow. You can earn money by selling forageables as you go. And you can earn money by selling wood as you collect in the forest as well. Now, most of those things you want to keep. If you're a natural hoarder in games like myself, you want to keep your fruits. You want to keep your vegetables for your cooking. You want to keep your herbs, your spices, and your mushrooms for cooking, right? Because that's the whole part of the game, is you want to cook. I tried to find someone that would buy my cooked meals, and I don't think I went to the... Unless you can't, but I might not have went to the right person. But at least in my experience, in the people I talked to in the game, I couldn't actually sell cooked meals. Maybe I had to go talk to Lily. Maybe I could sell it to Lily. I'm not sure. But if you have done that, let me know in the comment section below. But I found myself having a hard time buying money. Now, what does money actually do in the game itself? Well, money only does a few things, at least that we've learned in the first 5 hours of Tales of the Shire. Money does, I think, 2 or 3 things. 1, it buys you seeds so that you can have your farm go. Right. That's what it does. 2, it buys you clothes so that you can wear clothes, which the clothes are kind of expensive, so you have to save up a lot of money for that. And 3, it buys you furniture for your house so that you can have furniture in your house. And it also helps you with buying garden beds and things like that. Now, your house is half built, half not. There's a lot of areas where it seems like it will expand and open up as time progresses or acts progress. But the game doesn't actually like talk about that. And maybe in another act, maybe act 3, there will be something where you can pay money to repair a certain part of your house, repair a certain part of your farm. That could be something. I'm not sure. I didn't get to that point with the first 5 hours. So yeah. But at least what I experienced, there wasn't a lot to do with money at that point. There's a lot of areas where it's blocked off and you can't actually go. There's a lot of gates that you can't walk through and get to unless, probably, I'm assuming, you progress through the acts of the game. So there's that. Kind of transitioning into from furniture to decoration. Decoration is a pretty big thing in this game. I think it does a pretty good job, actually. It does a really good job at, like, the decorating is pretty cool, I think. The placement of furniture items is all free mode, which I like. It's free placement. There is a little bit of, I think there's a toggle snap feature in it too. But, yeah, you can really, like, you can get really, really, really creative with all the different items and all the decoration pieces that you can attach to furnitures and things like that. You can change the wallpaper, change the flooring, everything, the banisters, the beams, all of that. And you can color them and all that. And you can get really creative with your builds. It does not cost a thing, though. Doing your wallpapers, doing your flooring, it's all free. It's all free. You just kind of click and pick, and that's pretty much that. So, yeah. Same thing goes for the planting of seeds. I think the planting of crops is actually pretty cool. It's a free placement crop or free placement seed in the garden bed, and you can place it anywhere you want in the garden bed. Then there's a mechanic where it's called companions, where you can only get higher quality crops. At least this is what I've learned so far. You can only get higher quality crops if the crops have a good companion with them while they grow. Which means if a lettuce is growing next to a cucumber and they are good companions, which shows you when you plant them, they show a little smiley face, then you will get a higher quality crop. If you plant them next to bad companions, I don't know what happens. I'm assuming you get lower quality crop. So if, like, you planted a lettuce next to a garlic, they might not like each other, whatever it might be. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's not like you put fertilizer down and actually get a better quality crop. You don't put fertilizer down and you get a faster crop. You have to, like, mix and match your crops so that they like to be next to each other, if that makes sense. It's an interesting mechanic. Not that special, but it's an interesting mechanic indeed. Yeah, so that's the whole that part. As you're running around the Shire, there's a lot of, I still think there's a lot of missed opportunities and different things. First of all, the map is fairly small. It's a very small map. The game itself is very small. It's 2.7 gigabytes to download, and you have the Shire, and that's it. There's nowhere else to go. You don't go anywhere. You don't travel anywhere. They put in that little map. And I think there's a lot of missed opportunities to fill in some void. I was mentioning in my stream that it would be cool if they would have added, like, maybe some sort of type of collectibles that you could find, or some lore pages that you could kind of read, and it would tell you about what's going on in Middle Earth at the time. I was told, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I was told that the game placement is between the Hobbit and between Lord of the Rings, I guess, right in the middle of that, as far as movies and timeline goes. So it'd be cool to kind of, like, you know, see some sort of collectible that you can find throughout the world. The game does actually make references to very popular characters in the series itself, which I do appreciate. I thought that was pretty cool. There might be even more. Who knows in the future and all that. I don't know. But yeah, the map itself, it's small. It's very difficult, I feel like, to memorize where to go and all that. Only because it all looks the same. And I know it's kind of hard because, like, everything is all hilly. and these buildings are all like inside hills, and it sometimes is very hard. One thing I found that took me a little bit to get used to was the map, the waypoint system. I had a hard time kind of like getting used to that system. The map is easy to navigate with the waypoint. However, the waypoint is not as obvious as you might think. I think of like games like Fable where, like, let's just say you had a waypoint and you were going somewhere, there's at least a glowing yellow trail you follow. In this game, you follow blue birds sitting on posts or sitting on something. And you have to rely on the birds. You have to run towards the birds and things like that. Things can get kind of chaotic when you come into a fork in the road, and then trying to follow the birds is kind of hard to do. So I honestly didn't even look at the blue birds anymore. All I did was go in and out, in and out, in and out of my map. In and out, in and out, in and out of my map. It was, yeah. Yeah. So it was kind of hard to navigate around the map for the first couple of hours. I got used to it because I got used to where things were at, but I think the waypoint system is easy to use when using it on the map, but it's not easy to follow when you're actually in the world. They could have done like a little gold trail that you followed, and I don't think anyone would have cared about that, right? Instead, they use blue birds. Now, people are colorblind, and the game suggests blue birds. Hopefully, there's a colorblind setting in the game. I'm not sure, or hopefully, there's some sort of visual impairment that helps with waypoints, because I feel like visual impairment with the waypoint would be very difficult to kind of keep track and follow those blue birds. I was having trouble doing that. So yeah, it's not the most friendly, user-friendly waypoint system I've ever seen. One thing, and that this was brought up in my stream, one thing that this game absolutely could do is a friggin' mini map. I mean, the map's already hard enough and you don't want to go in and out of it all the time, but a mini map, I don't see why they didn't add a mini map to this game. It could have easily went into the top right hand corner and really probably brought down the frustration of going in and out of your map all day, especially if you're on controller. That probably would get very exhausting and very annoying after a long time going in and out to find out, because like I said, the blue birds were not as reliable as you might think it was, because the blue birds don't even keep up with you running and things like that. So I think a mini map would have been a solid add. Surprised they didn't have a mini map. Don't know why they didn't have a mini map. So yeah, that's something. There is no really sprint button in the game. There's two forms of walking. There's the standard walking, which is kind of like a running walk kind of deal. And then there's if you hold down the shift key or sprint button, whatever it is on whatever you're using, it's like a skip. And I feel like the skip animation is a lot slower than the standard walking. So I don't know why you would want to use the skipping motion. It's not faster. I think you just use it just to be cute. I think. I don't know. I don't know what the skipping there's no benefit. Alternatively, skipping and being like standard walking, I don't think. So yeah, there was that to think about. So yeah, there's a lot of different things going on with this game. Like I said, this game is very much tailored, I believe, to a very specific audience, very niche audience. $35 USD for digital, cheaper to get it digital. $40 for physical if you were to buy it at the store. It's a pretty penny. It's a pretty penny for a cozy game for what it has in store for it. Now, I think for me, well, I think if you really are a cozy gamer and you really love playing very casual games, you probably will really like this game. Maybe, possibly. If you are really all of those and you're a Lord of the Rings fan, then you probably will like this game. Yeah. If you're like a casual cozy gamer that likes casual games and things like that, it might be for you, it might not. You know, you might be weirded out with hairy feet or something. I don't know. It's Hobbits. If you're a Lord of the Rings player and you've played other Lord of the Rings games in the past, chances are this game is not for you. This is definitely probably not for you. This is definitely a game tailored to those casual, very casual gamers cozy gamers and cozy lovers of Lord of the Rings. Just because you love Lord of the Rings does not mean you will like this game. You won't. There's a chance you probably won't, right? And that's just the reality of it. That's just the gameplay of it. I talked about it, and it was a very interesting thing that I think this is, for what it's worth, they went into the right direction as far as if they wanted to make a cozy Lord of the Rings game that wasn't like so crazy like all the other ones. This was like the perfect species. This was the perfect setting to actually do that. The Hobbits, the Shire, very laid back folk, this was the people to do it, but did it actually, did it actually execute enough? Was there enough there? I think they could have done a lot more for this game. I think they absolutely could have did a lot more. And that all goes to a lot of different factors. How much was the budgeting? What did the devs have for budgeting? We don't know. Unless there's public information about that. I don't know what the devs for publishing, as far as like how much budgeting they have to develop this game. Who knows? Maybe they didn't have a lot of budgeting. I don't know. That is a question for the publishers to answer. So tweet at them or blue sky them or something, or Reddit them. I don't know. Do something, I guess, if you want to ask them that question. But yeah, it just I do believe it falls short. I do believe, at least for me, it falls short. There's a lot of fetch quests. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of dialogue. I actually like the dialogue. The dialogue's not bad. It's fun. It's engaging and things like that. It's cool. I do wish that there was a little bit of voicing acting, and that is a very, very tall order. Don't get me wrong, very tall order. Voice acting, again, for whatever the budget was for this team, we don't know what the budget was. Usually what happens is, and this goes from indie game devs to AAA titles, what happens is developers get a budget and for voice acting, and they'll go and give these agencies, these voice acting or these acting talent agencies, a number. They say, hey, we have $10,000 is our budget. Most of the time, all these games, whatever game you play, the developers do not pick the voice actors. The agencies pick the voice actors, and they determine whether, hey, your money will go this far for this voice actor. So I think for the Hobbit world, it probably was very expensive, because having Hobbit voice actors probably would have been a pretty penny, maybe. I don't know, for very good quality, because there's a lot of Hobbits. There's like 15 characters in the game, right? So and there's a lot of dialogue in the game. So it's almost like you wish there was voice acting, and I think that's fair. I wish there was, but I don't mind that there wasn't. Honestly, I don't mind that there wasn't. It was not too bad. The dialogue was engaging and things like that. But yeah, so it's tough to say on this one. This is a very, very, very hard one to put up. I think personally, and I'm just gonna rate it. I'm not gonna rate it off of its digital price. I'm gonna rate it off of its physical price. $40 for the physical game, for the game itself. Is it a lot of money? Yeah, I think it's a lot of money. Many years ago, I made my video about Fae Farm being a lot of money, and I thought that was a lot of money back then too. So, yeah, I think Tales of the Shire, it's a lot of money. You have to be like super, super, super into casual cozy gaming and Lord of the Rings to really enjoy it, probably. And the one big thing about this game for a $40 game is I can already sniff out and tell you there is no replayability. There's no replayability for this game, unfortunately. I don't see there being replayability. I don't see somebody playing through this game and being like, okay, time to play it again. I think this is a game that you play once and then you put away for a few years and then maybe you bring it out again. Do you think 40 games should have that replayability? Because I truly believe this one does not have that. Because there's nothing different. There's nothing different. There's no vanilla. It's all vanilla. It's all vanilla, all casual, all cozy. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit disappointing because we have waited a very long time, and this was one of our mostly anticipated games of the year. Tales of the Shire, and I love Lord of the Rings a lot. I mean, you could probably see I have a Lord of the Rings desk mat right here that I have. But yeah, I think it just fell short. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you bought the game, great. If you are enjoying the game, great. Have absolutely fun with the game. Like I said, I do truly believe there's people out there that will really enjoy this game. But for the mass majority of people in gaming, I think this one might fall short with the majority. But I know there will people that will love it, and I know there will people that will like it, and I know people that they will absolutely play the hell out of it. Play the hell out of it. Don't stop playing it. Keep playing it. And for the ones that don't find this game up there, you know what? This is not for you. That's all right. There's other games out there that we can enjoy. Absolutely. So yeah, it's a split. It's an absolute split. I think personally, in my taste of games and what I like coming out of games, I personally think $40 is just a bit too much. It's a bit too much. Let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching this video. You can watch the full 5 hours live stream in the comment section below, pinned comment section below, description, wherever I end up putting it. One of those sections, you can check it out for yourself, watch it, enjoy it, play along if you want to. You can play along for the first 5 hours if you want to do that, and all that. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever you may be, and I will see you all in the next video or stream, wherever that may be. Do as always, take care.